What is up, everybody? It is your boy Mafia here with another video. Today's video is going to be the final part to the three-part series of the tier list for mid-elo tier list. I don't know a better way to say it, but yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I do have a big announcement. In a couple hours, you'll see another video. Please hit that up. Just a little something. But thank you guys. Roll to the tier list. Okay, so on to the tier list. This one I made again personally. I do want you guys to know that I probably have the most experience in frontline out of the three tier lists that I've made. So most amount of hours in frontline, and I am a frontline main. So to put my two statements down, my two little placements of where people should go in between or above or whatever. I say Ruckus is probably the lowest, and I'd probably say Nando is either highest or second highest for tanks. I'm not going to consider D tier a thing. That's why Ruckus is still the lowest, but he's in C tier. I just feel like he doesn't deserve to be in the 5th spot because he would probably be alone. I'm not going to lie to you. So let's talk about it. Ruckus. The main point of Ruckus is that he's all DPS and that he's off point. The issue is that he really doesn't do better than any of the other tanks here at off tanking. Of course, unless the tank itself, like a NaRa, mainly focuses on point tank. He just doesn't do enough. He's basically a flank with a shield and extra health, but with less damage. Like, he just shoots pellets and doesn't affect the game at all, unless you get that rare occasion where there's an actual good Ruckus player. He's just a rough character. Just they needed to rework him or do a lot of mini reworks, but I feel like at that point you might as well just do a whole rework of his kit because it just doesn't work anymore. He's just not strong. Again, needless to say, there is a lot of Ruckus mains. Not a lot, I should say. The Ruckus mains that there are usually do really well with him, and they can show that he is important, but in the main population of people, Ruckus is just awful. He just doesn't do more than any of these other champions. Nando, why is he an S tier? He can play both off tank and point tank, and he can do phenomenally in both of them with either Aegis or Scorch. He gets a 4-second shield with Aegis with the build, like the meta build right now. And then with Scorch, he gets 500 health, I think, on like a fireball, and it goes a distance. So he's not just a shield tank, but he can actually do tons of damage, and his dot damage that he does with his flames, insane. So I mean, there's not really much to say about Nando. His ultimate obviously makes everyone invincible for a couple seconds. Just he's worth it. He's an all-around package, and if people don't play Nando and they are frontline, I think they should, because he's just really good. Ashe. I want to say that Ashe is probably A tier. For both being, if we were putting it like, ranking them off their point tank or their off tank ability, I'd say that she's probably a B point tank and like an A on tank. But I'm just gonna say with everything, her whole utility, her whole package, Ashe fits in pretty well at an A. She's got a lot of knockback, so a lot of CC. Her ultimate keeps her alive. It also stuns anyone in the area as long as they're not CC immune. She has a good bit of health, and I know some of her cards, I know a lot of, or not a lot, but some of the meta builds give her lifesteal in her card deck. So I think that all around champion, I think she's really strong. But yeah, very viable, and a lot of people use Ashe. I think she's really strong. Atlas, I think he probably fits in at like a B tier. Pretty steady, because he really doesn't do more than any of the other tanks, and his utility is obviously very unique. He can send people back in time. He can send himself back in time for healing. He's got his wall, which compared to a lot of the other walls is super small. It's effective because there is no health on it. It just eats damage. Besides that, I mean, his ultimate is I'd like to say. It gets blocked by shields and walls. And there's not really a lot of good uses for his ult. He's got good damage output, I'd like to say that, and as an off tank, he fits in very well. But besides that, he just doesn't output as much as everyone else does, and his utility just doesn't fit as much. Not saying that he's not a unique and cool character, because Atlas is really, really dope, and I think that the people that play him are good. I can't play him personally, but I know that he's a good and kind of a mid-tier champion. Barrack, probably an A-tier champion. Actually is an A-tier champion, I should say. Third or fourth best point tank. What he lacks in health, he has in self-healing abilities. He also has a lot of damage. I've seen a lot of the times where barracks go or have the most amount of damage on a team in the end. He has a lot of shields. He has crazy amounts of mobility. I think that he's just super strong, and really the only thing that can stop him the cripple. So NaRa. I think she fits in the S tier. I do. Because you usually see one of these 2 point tanks, or you see a barrack. And I'd say that she's probably second best point tank at this point. My ranked career, I guess, in like mid ELO. She has an ult that stuns. She has really, really good damage output by her basic mouse click. Her left mouse click ability. Her right click reduces damage. She's a wall that has tons of health. She has a slow with her obelisk. She can actually get that to cripple and be even in a larger radius with treacherous grounds. So, just a really good champion. Khan, I just don't feel like he fits in the meta, and he's very map dependent. I'd say that he's B tier. Used to be really good. The map rotation and his damage output just kind of falls behind most people. Because of that, he has good damage and he has good CC, but beyond that, he's an alright champion unless you play him correctly. Then he could definitely be an A tier. Like, you could definitely swap him into A tier, but for the most part, for people in my rank, I see him as a B tier. They don't play him right, and he usually doesn't fit in the meta, at least the meta for platinum / mid ELO. Makoa. You never really see Makoas anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hashel Makoa. After someone damages his whole shield, it's usually like a 1 or 2 second reset, and he just throws down the shield again. So I think he's an A tier. Most people don't pick him, but I think that he, as like a air quote unquote pocket pick, he does damage. He can play point very well now because of half shell, and he can also flank very well because of half shell. Just in general, Makoa is very, very good for his CC and his ultimate, which gives him CC reduction or CC immunity. So yeah, just overall kind of like a really good champion. But he's been around the game forever, so I don't really need to talk about him that much. Rom, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm having difficulties between C and B, but I can't really put him on the same tier as Ruckus, only because he does more damage. And as an off tank that like flanks and is kind of like a damage, he just has more health and has the ability to get out of places a lot better than Ruckus does. And his ultimate seems a lot better on point too. So he also gets it a lot faster than Ruckus does, it feels like. So but the only reason I'm not putting him higher is because most of the meta picks now have so much CC that his run doesn't help him that much. So Terminus, I'm having a struggle because I would put him at S tier. I would really put him at S tier because he can do both point tank and yeah, I'm gonna put him at S tier. I would put him before NaRa. He's a really good point tank and a really good off tank. And you see him, if there's ever a tank ban in Platinum, which is it's like mid-range for how many people ban tanks, Terminus is usually the tank that they ban. Reasoning is because his ultimate, he comes back, it can kill any squishy and does an immense amount of damage to tanks. Not even that, his stuns goes through shields. Decimation, the talent, does an extra 100 per shot, and most of the builds for that allow him to heal off the shots that he hits. If they don't go that, stun, literally one of the most used talents, just goes through shields. So this tank right here, Nando, love him, amazing tank. He can just break that shield and just stun Nando. So it's just like he just counters a lot of the shield tanks like Barrack and, you know, Ashe and Makoa. Just he does well there, and he does a lot of damage, and he eats a lot with his like vortex thing. I forgot the name of it. And then Torvald. I struggle because Torvald is a really good pocket pick, and he's more of like a support than he is a tank. There's a really high win rate with Torvald that I've seen. And I've played against and played with. Torvald was just a really high win rate, so I can't really say anything. He also gets banned a lot, and he can pocket heal a lot of the strong damage in flanks like Zin or Androxus. I think the meta build for him is his 500 health shield or whatever, and then he gives like an extra 375 health. Like he heals the person that he shields for 375 health, and you're like a 500 health shield. I would consider him more like a support than a tank, but as like an off tank, he does quite a bit of damage to help the, you know, the damage that he's pocketing or whatever, and then as, you know, a support / frontline that pockets people, he does insanely. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you guys get whenever I post. See you guys later.